Dear Shanae and Simone, as you move through life as Black women, you will have a very unique experience. In many cases, you will be asked or expected to serve in roles that weren't clearly explained, nor did you really agree to. Over the course of my life, I have met some amazing women who have navigated some of the spaces that you will encounter. I want my village to share with you their stories of trials and successes to help provide a foundation to understand your power to choose the woman that you will become and the strength that you can find in your sisters. This series of shows is my gift to you. The women you will hear from are phenomenal. They come from different backgrounds and have chosen different paths for their lives. Each represents a facet of the Black woman experience. Some of the stories may not align with your journey directly, but those stories are even more important. By listening closely, you can learn about uncommon experiences and find ways to support your sisters along your shared journey. I love you all so much, and I hope to see you soon. So that's what the month of Black women is. That's what it's all about. It's an opportunity for me to introduce you all, introduce the dope women I know to my goddaughters through these shows, and also to help us all kind of look at Black women differently. One of the things that I have found out and realized that I was the perpetrator, not the victim of, but the perpetrator of, is making up stories in my head about what Black women should be able to accomplish, what they should be able to do, without actually asking one of them. But we're not going to do that no more, are we? No. We have evolved. What do they say? When you know better, you should do better. And I learned a couple things. And okay, let's be honest, maybe not too many, but I'm trying. So these are the couple I know. And so I want to make sure that we have the opportunity to talk to dope women. And I want to introduce you to one of the dope women that I know. I've known her for like 2 or 3 years. So you all know normally it's like 10, 15, 20 years. But when I met her, I immediately understood that she was special, not just in the fact that she's an entrepreneur and that she's a wife, a mother, that she got into manufacturing, that she does retail, that she does all of these things, but the fact that she cared enough to make sure that she created a platform, to create a space that appreciated women, not just trying to get them in so she could do their hair, sell them some makeup, and have them roll, but to really anchor in and help them try to build themselves and to build each other. She is what I'm talking about when I talk about Black excellence, love, that whole love economy and stuff like that. You know what? I still got to remember my show notes. I got to remember that I know her, y'all don't. So it's better for her to tell her story as opposed to me just keep talking. So without further ado, let me bring Raquel to the stage. Hello.
Hello, William.
How
Thank
are
you.
you doing?
I am excellent. Thank you so
That
much
is
for having me on.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yes.
So, like I said, I pay attention to my show notes,
Yes.
and the show notes said let people introduce themselves. Don't do all the talking. So, I'm
Yes.
gonna give you an opportunity for you to let people know who you are and what it is that you do.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Well, that was a wonderful introductory. I am Raquel Renee Allen. I am a believer in Jesus Christ. I love the Lord. I am a wife. I'm a mother. I am an entrepreneur. I am a event planner, a creative artist. I make a lot of things. I impart my wisdom and encourage women every day through my hands and also my knowledge by just standing behind the chair and working on beautiful, successful women from all walks of life that come into my salon. So it's an honor to be here.
Oh, wow. It is an honor for us to have you here because, again, I've had an opportunity to work with you for the last few years. And one of the things I really do appreciate is that you are who you portend to be. Not pretend, but portend. See, we step up the vocabulary here on the morning
I
show.
love it.
But like, there are a lot of people whose brand is that they care and their brand is that they really want to empower people. But when you scratch back the business model, it's kind of like you just like everybody else.
Yes.
And that has not been what I have found in working with you. So I just want to shout you out to and letting people know that what you see here, This
Mm-hmm.
is what it is.
Yeah.
You know,
This is me every day.
because if she at this point after 2-3 years is still able to keep some things hidden from me, oh, then it don't matter because you ain't never gonna see it either. I do this, okay? So wait,
Yeah.
I'm gonna start you off like I start everybody else off. Jeff Bezos launches rockets into outer space, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the
Yeah.
next one he launches, it gets up there, and then there's some aliens driving by our solar system. Like, what's that? And oh, let's go over there and see what's happening. And they
Mm-hmm.
get closer to the planet. They're like, yo, there's 7 billion sentient beings on that planet,
Mm-hmm.
but they're all different categories and they look different. The genders are different, and they pick you and said, you look like one of these black women ones.
Mm-hmm.
We are aliens with no frame of reference for who you are.
Yeah.
Explain to us what it's like to be a black woman. What
Mm.
would you tell them?
Good question. What it is to be a Black woman? For me, off the top, I would say freedom. For so long, I felt like I wasn't free.
Mm,
Just in being who I was as a woman, growing up, not knowing how to have a voice and speak up. So now
mm,
that I have learned on my own, just self care and self knowledge and seeking out things. I know who I am as a Black woman. And to me, I like to do an acronym for my name, Raquel, to
mm,
keep me focused on reminding myself who I am. So I always say I'm radiant. A
mm-hmm,
Black woman is radiant. I am ambitious. Black women are
mm-hmm.
definitely ambitious. I am creative. I am quite unique, and I am unstoppable,
Okay.
and I am elegant in the things that I do, and I am lovable. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that all exudes what a Black woman is, and that's who I am. So that's what
So
I would say.
even in I appreciate that because in that description, one of the things that you did make clear is that this was an evolutionary process. It
Yeah.
wasn't you started off as I am bad, I'm a queen of everything. It was like, even in the describing how wonderful you are and you understand yourself to be now,
Yeah.
there is this idea that that wasn't always the case.
Nope.
So how did you make the transition from a place where, and these are my words, where our society teaches you that your only value is how you serve others, and that's what I think happens to a lot of black girls as they
Mhm.
transition into black women, to the point where you understand the value of self-care, you understand the value of boundaries, and you're able to say, I am, not only am I a black woman, I am Raquel, and let me tell you what it means.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
how did you get there?
I the way I got there, William, was to unlearn a lot of things that were
Mm,
imparted in me
mhm,
in my childhood and my upbringing. We all have a story and a journey that we've gone through in life,
mhm,
um, and I'm not saying that my upbringing was the worst ever, right? Because we can always find something that was, worse than ours. But growing up, I didn't have a voice. I had a lot of fear within me
mhm,
because of some things that took place in my household. And I had to get that fear out. So what I did was I just started to unlearn things by reading. For me, I had to just go to reading the Word of God. I did have foundation grow up in church, but it was
mhm.
different from going into church, but having a relationship with God. So I had to learn how to have a personal relationship with Him to get me through things. So that really helped me to just unlearn things and just keep going. Just always, there's always things that you can learn about life. And I feel like I call myself an eternal student of life. I feel like you have to
Mhm.
always learn what you want to learn to grow with yourself. So I had to unlearn things growing up to get where I'm at today. Yeah.
So thank you for that. And
Hmm.
because that is something that has been a recurring theme as we've been talking to Black women this month. It is a
Hmm.
lot of the training, and I use training very, very deliberately. It wasn't taught; it was trained. Because at least the way that I'm using
Hmm.
it, teaching is about getting you to think so you can make decisions. The experience that I've
Yes.
seen and honestly, unfortunately, have been a part of was training Black women even from a young age. Where okay, William, you go outside and play and get out of this damn kitchen because you're in the way. But Raquel, come here and go
Mm-hmm.
bring me the flour. Bring me the flour, obviously, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna teach you how to make this pie crust right now because you can't be around here not helping.
Right.
And so that's why I'm saying training. One of the things you said
Mm-hmm.
about the training is to, and I love the fact that it wasn't just the behaviors. You understood that there is, or at least, and if I'm putting words in your mouth, see, okay,
No,
show notes.
I'm
I'm sorry, I
fine.
got to look at my show notes again because I know this is one of the things I heard. It's like I get so excited and I just want to understand, so I'm telling it back, and I'm like, are you
Yes.
telling her own story back? Because I don't want. So I'm sensitive to
Sure.
mansplaining. So I'm like, wait, am I? How do that space where I'm trying to understand versus me trying to explain. So I apologize if I'm overly sensitive to it,
You're
but
fine. Mm-hmm.
after I got to be honest, after doing these shows, like
Mm-hmm.
I thought like most of my friends are women. I understand, like, and since I've
Mm-hmm.
been doing this, I'm like, please teach me more stuff so I can write it down. I thought I knew and I didn't, and so again, I'm just
Mm-hmm.
really grateful to you
Yes.
for
Thank
that. But when you talk about that unlearning stuff,
you. Yeah.
one of the things that I have seen, and I want to get your opinion on it because of the intersection with your independence,
Yeah.
self care, boundaries, and Christianity.
Yeah.
What I have seen happen is the word of God being weaponized against women.
Right.
Or it's funny that that for a while there was this whole movement about find your Boaz
Mm.
from the story of Ruth. But what happens is that makes sense until you read the story of Ruth.
Right.
Like Boaz, aside from the fact that she had to go through several trials in order to get to
Right.
Boaz, and then based on the way Boaz, because let's think about this: you in Jesus before Jesus time,
Mm-hmm.
you a rich dude, like real rich, like really, really not fake rich, not Donald
Mm-hmm.
Trump rich,
Right.
more like Bill Gates rich in your community,
Exactly.
and you unmarried
Uh-huh.
and you old.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, Ruth kind of put out like she came and went to his house and laid in his bed, like at the foot of his bed, like you can have it. So again, so this actually is a point. I swear to God, it's a point. So
Mm-hmm.
the what I've seen using that as an example is that
Mm-hmm.
people you have used the Bible against Black women
Yeah.
to get you to take a more subservient role.
Right.
Even there's still some churches and religious organizations now that say women are by nature of your 2X chromosome, you
Mm-hmm.
are disqualified from worshiping God in a leadership role. And again,
Right.
I'm not suggesting that that's your church, but
Right.
as a Black woman who is anchored deeply in faith, because even as you started introducing yourself, first thing you start off the break, need y'all to know how this is going to go down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do you manage your worship life with
Mm-hmm.
some of the realities of that? And we talked about this before, have seen people be manipulated within
Yeah.
the word of God.
Most definitely. Yeah.
So how do
Manipulation.
you navigate those spaces?
Yeah. A lot of it is you have to learn it for yourself. You have to know it for yourself. I believe that religion is a system of how you worship and things, the way you do things. Relationship is your connection with the higher source, right? And for me, like it may not be for everyone, but for me, it's Jesus Christ, the only truth and the light.
Mhm.
So I had to learn. Yes, I was brought up in church, but knowing church and knowing God is totally different. That's a whole
Okay.
separate thing. So I had to learn how to just study on my own, show myself approved,
Mm.
not listening to what a pastor would say, but also testing what they say too, having discernment and using your gifts, that the Holy Spirit gives you to know where it's coming from. And you know a person's heart by testing the spirit by the spirit. So I'm not going to turn this all into a whole spiritual thing, but
I'm sorry.
for
Wait. Let's slow down here. We can
Mhm.
turn it into whatever you want. This is my
Oh,
whole
okay.
show. This is my whole show.
This is show. Okay. All right.
And real talk. The reason I've talked to you about the spiritual aspects of your life is
Mhm,
because
mhm.
we've had other women. I don't want to suggest that the other women that I've had on don't
Mhm.
necessarily have a relationship,
Right.
but for you, even in your business life,
Yes.
in my connection, at least what I've seen, and if I'm wrong, call me on it. But
Mhm.
what I've seen from you is that your faith again, not your association with the religious institution, and I appreciate the distinction that you at times draw with that.
Yes.
But your faith is a predominant
Mhm.
feature of your entire identity,
It's
and
all in, yeah.
so as opposed to just being a part of your character.
Yes,
And so
definitely.
that's why I'm like, I absolutely talk to you about it. Who else? I'm talking about Black women who deep in spirit. That's you. You
Yes.
qualified.
This
You
is me. This is the essence of me. Even you'll see traces all in my business about it,
absolutely.
without it being, pushing, everything for me. I believe you have to do everything out of love, because God is love. And if there were, people have a lot of church hurt because things were forced upon them and it didn't feel good, right? So they kind of like say, you know what, I'm going to back off of that. And they start learning other things other than what they learned in church because they didn't
Absolutely.
associate that with feeling loved. So what I mean by unlearning some of those things is I always tell my clients that have that church hurt, I say, you know what, you have to find him for who you are, not with what the church has told you. Find it for yourself. And then when you have that relationship, then you will learn how God is unconditionally, loving you, unlike how sometimes people have conditions on love. When you're completely loved by God and Christ, then everything else is just extra. You don't look to that, right?
Well, yeah, but what I want to talk a little bit about to that vein, because I think you make an amazing point,
Mm-hmm.
is there are many of us who are in church who've never actually experienced what would the Bible describes as that type of real love. What we get is a lot of feel goods, a lot of motivation and things like that. So as
Yeah.
you have been navigating,
Right.
how have you been able to separate the praise part and and because there is a place for that kind of practice of praise, but that
Most
relationship
definitely.
part, and you talked about learning more. How did you even know to do that the love that you were experienced that was made for man was not the right one? Because if that's all you've ever had,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to, because I want them to know that
Yeah.
if they are feeling these kind of spiritual pullings, like what is it, what's happening?
Yeah. It really depends on where you are in life. Life experiences will teach you things. Like I said, I had my foundation early. I was saved really early.
Mm-hmm.
But going through trials and tribulations as you grow up, like for me, I mean, my parents, they divorced when I was 12, and I lived in like probably 7 to 8 different places over time with the lack of stability with my mom and her working and things, and I find myself homeless at one point, right? And when I had the foundation of God, and I just knew that God didn't leave me even through those things, even though when I fell and fell short of the glory of God, I still felt his presence with me, right? And
Mm-hmm.
when you experience it and you go through trials and you see the love of God in your life and how he places people in your life at the right time and the right season, all I say,
Mm-hmm.
I know it's nothing like the God I serve. In my homelessness, me doing nails, I had a particular client that she just knew something was wrong with me that day. I was really
Mm-hmm.
quiet. Say, because I'm just trying to figure out. She just asked me, like, what's share? But God told me, he just nudged me, was like, just share it with her. I didn't even know her that well. And after I told her my situation of how we were evicted from our townhome, and my mother basically said, go your way, and and you and your sister have to go her way, our own way. She said, well, you can live with me. And I said, what? She lived all the way in Columbia, and I was in at the time I was working in Park Heights in that area, right?
Okay.
And so I was just so grateful that she even asked me to live with her, and I accepted, and that was just another test to show that I know that God was still looking out for me, right? Even in the midst of that. But go ahead.
No, I want to because not only does God provide for you, he also gives free will. So she had her
Yeah,
free will to bring you in. So let's shout her out for the appropriate
most
exercise or the
definitely.
beneficial exercise of free will.
Most
Who is
definitely.
she? Who is she? And shout her out because that's big love.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Her name is Anita Sutton, and beautiful young lady. I was actually at the time I was around 17 years old. But Anita, she still lives in Columbia, Maryland, and we stay in touch. And recently, I just had an event for her. I did a Mimi tea party for her and her little her grandkids.
Hmm.
Um, she lost her daughter like 2 years
Mm,
ago. So
okay.
definitely shout out to Anita Sutton. She was an angel in my life that God sent.
And
Yeah.
I think it's important, one of the things that I'm hopeful that my goddaughters and our listeners will understand is that you don't know how beneficial the kindness that you offer can
Yes.
impact somebody else.
Yes. Most definitely. Just a
She
choice.
and the other
She
side
could
of
have
it
heard
too,
the story and turned away, turned her cheek, you know?
it could have been like, oh wow, that's messed up. Here's a $20 bill. Please don't talk to me
Right,
about this anymore because now I'm uncomfortable that you're homeless. No, thank you.
right,
Eh,
exactly.
the same way that we drive past the squeegee kids and we roll up our windows.
Right,
Okay,
we
it's
do
because if we're
that.
gonna talk
That's
about
true.
stuff, because
It's
I'm
true.
sorry, Raquel, I gotta look at my show notes again because they
Oh,
say
okay. Let me
calm
get
down
off. Okay.
sometimes because
Be
I get
focused.
excited about topics and I was like, oh, you should probably.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely.
But so we talk often about the need to invest in young people, and I
Hmm.
know you believe
Yeah,
in it, and you've done it. Like not even on some, hey, let
yes.
me tell you what you should do. You've done it, but I really want to really reiterate, not reiterate, but just shine a light on the fact that this is what it looks like when it gets paid forward. Like
Yes.
Anita didn't have any real benefit to letting you stay with her or whatever, but it
Mhm.
gave you a foundation to know that people actually care. And then what happened? What did you do? You became the next person who cares.
That's right. That's right. Pass it forward, most definitely. And I believe I've passed it forward many times, opening up my doors and just being there for people, just being sacrificial, just being selfless is so
Okay.
important because there's so many selfish people and the world teaches us to be selfish,
Well,
right?
wait a minute. Okay, because we got some pushback real quick. Okay, I
Okay.
love this part. I love this part because I've had this conversation with
Okay.
almost every person that's come through.
Yeah, yeah.
One of the things that I have seen, and what did she call it? One of my guests, Dr. McBride. Oh, y'all haven't
Mm-hmm.
seen her show yet. She
Oh.
calls it weaponized incompetence.
Mm, mm,
And so what happened, and an example I used of weaponized incompetence is this joke Bill Cosby used to tell about his wife waking him up on a Saturday morning to go fix breakfast. So he
mm-hmm,
goes downstairs and the kids are like, well, Dad, can we have chocolate cake for breakfast? And he's like, there's milk in chocolate cake. There's
mm,
eggs in chocolate cake. There's
mm-hmm,
flour in chocolate cake like pancakes.
mm-hmm.
Sure, why not? Let's be chocolate cake. And the kids are celebrating and they're happy. And the wife comes down and she loses it. Like you're feeding kids chocolate cake for breakfast, which is a
Much
separate
different.
show because I don't see what's wrong with that. But I realized that I might not have been the
Really,
best parent
really.
for it.
Sugar
Okay.
early in the morning. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Do you understand how I make it to noon? Don't do it.
Wow, hidden
Coffee
secrets.
and donuts
Mhm.
help me. But so okay. But I got all excited. See, this is why they
Sugar.
give me the show notes because I get
Mhm.
excited
It
and
helps.
like I forgot everything I was talking about because it was
It's
funny.
okay.
So what was I talking about?
I said that the world can be selfish, teaches us selfish.
Oh,
Hmm.
so what we've been talking about is that you talk about the unlearning piece is
Yeah.
that a lot of Black women, and it sounds like you found a balance, but a lot of Black women get manipulated by this weaponized incompetence, by
Mm,
this playing chicken. Like I'll leave my underwear on the floor because it doesn't bother me.
mm,
It drives you so crazy, and I'm like, well, I was going to do it, and you're like, but I asked you for 2 days.
mhm,
Maybe I was going to do it on the third. And
mhm.
so is this kind of differences in approach that
Yeah,
I have seen that leads Black women to be the ones that always have to do it
got
because they're taught that selfishness, if you don't give of yourself, then you're being selfish now, especially Christian Black women.
you. Yeah.
And so, but I'm saying you have seemed to have found a way to still understand what being selfless is without creating an opportunity to be exploited. How do you figure
Exactly.
that part out? Because
Yeah,
that's what I think the issue for a lot of people.
it took some time,
Okay.
people pleasing, learning to say no to some good things as well. Um,
Mm.
for me, I have to go back to God. I had to learn how to listen to the voice of God. When God tells me to move, I move. When He tells me to stand still, I stand still. Not jumping every time someone wants me to do something, because I used to be that,
Mm.
even in work, business. I mean, I'm like, oh, I got to do this for them. They want me to do that. And then you find yourself just going every which way and you don't have a direction. So sometimes it's good to sit in things first before you make a decision, and know that we are here for, I believe we are here to help with everything we do. If it's career wise, we're here to help another person, period, on earth. That's what our careers normally are, to help somebody. So it's
Mhm.
nothing wrong with helping people, but you want to make sure you're not enabling as well. So it's a
Ooh.
balance as well. I believe that. I had to learn that hard way.
Talk a little bit about, because there are times, especially in familial relationships,
Mm-hmm.
where Black women end up in a situation where the love becomes enabling.
Yeah.
How do you, so as, and again, I know, especially with the way you love Bigly, that
Mm-hmm.
you are open to that kind of thing. So how do you know when it's,
Yeah.
this is real love and support, and versus when it's like, I think this might not be helpful to you anymore? How
Yeah,
do you make?
I just say a simple prayer. I just pray on it, and God
Okay.
will speak to me. I'm also a big dreamer. I dream a lot. God speaks to me a lot in dreams. So
Okay.
I'm just really obedient to it now, because once again, when you have a relationship, you're in tune with God and Him talking and speaking to you. So now, and I'll tell people, if people ask me, I say, "Well, I'm gonna pray on it. I'll let you know,"
Okay.
and they say, "Okay." And you have to do it with a gentle kindness, not in a mean way, but to let them know that yes, I'm serious about my thinking process, because I can't just jump every time someone tells me to jump. And
Right.
that's even in my household. I had to learn it with my marriage.
Mm.
I had to, like, wait a minute, I got to stand still for a second,
Wait a minute.
because I don't think even he's knowing what he's talking about. So sometimes I had to, yeah.
So, and I reckon, because I was married for about 17 years,
Mm-hmm.
and then she wised up and left.
Mm-hmm.
But I do recognize that marital, that break you just hit is like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna talk to him before I
Uh-huh.
say this on the show.
Right. Right.
But that is
That's
the wisdom
wise.
of relationship. It is
Yeah.
understanding who your person is, and
Yes.
so in that same vein of relationship, and again, I really do appreciate the what I've gotten to know about you and being able to watch you show up, not just in our personal conversations, interactions, but also your brand and your social media strategy and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I think is really interesting in how you show up is that you, again, the intersection of all of these pieces,
Yeah.
and especially the part where you are a creative in business.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know that there are a couple of things that creatives, especially creatives in the beauty industry, go through.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it is the marginalization, because, oh, you do hair, like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's never the whole like, oh wow, you run a hair salon, you, it's like,
Right.
oh, you do hair, okay.
Right. It's
and
all about the
and,
creative side. Mm-hmm.
Right. And what I have heard from women, and especially Black women in health and health and beauty, is the struggle to be taken seriously as a business owner.
Yes.
You're not just somebody who does hair. Like, you do inventory, aside from the external inventory you
Yeah.
do with your supplier, you actually manufacture and retail stuff.
Yes, I
So
do.
how do you manage those kind of Black woman expectations of you supposed to be doing all of the things,
Mm-hmm.
and you got your little hair business? That's so cute. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay, with your hair
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
As opposed to, like, please understand, I got the same financials everybody else got.
That's right. Bills have to still get paid, things like that. When I was younger, I opened up my first salon at age 19. And
Say that again. Say that again.
I opened up my first salon at 19.
Can I
Yeah,
give you a high five from across the
1997,
city for Black excellence? There it is.
high five. Nothing but God. So, at 19 coming in, a lot of people were looking like, well, who's this? Or no one would know my age because I wouldn't tell them. Because back then I knew if you tell a, if I'm doing, baby boomers and things, they're looking at like, well, how old is she? And she owns all of this 1,800 square feet. We're like, wait a minute, how did that happen? I would get a lot of questions. So I learned how to be about my work and be very mindful on what I would share, right? Because I believe you don't have to share everything you do. I've never been a boastful person. So it takes a lot for me to come out and say everything that I do. So being young, owning a salon, it was challenging in the sense of when I started hiring people that were older than me. Once they found out how old I was, then it was like they try to get, like they're like, well, how can you teach me anything? And they see that I'm doing pretty much everything, running a business, having a clientele, having a barber shop. I had barbers in my salon and everything in the salon. And I remember this one particular stylist, she was with me maybe about 3-4 months, and she was having a hard time with a client. So of course, for me, anytime clients always come first, right? And I'm always ready to find a solution. So I take her in the back and I try to talk to her about other ways of how she can talk to the client to get her to understand the process of her hair color. And she was getting very frustrated with me. And it was almost like she didn't want to take my advice, even though what I was saying was true, and would have helped her. So instead of that, she decides to attack my age. And she's like, well, what are you going to tell me? You're not a senior cosmetologist. And I said, well, I'm sorry to inform you, but I am. And she was shocked. Like, you're that young and you have your senior license too? Yes, I do. That's why I'm able to teach you, and I'm trying to get her to understand it's not about age. It's not about your credentials. We're trying to make a solution to keep a client in our salon to stay happy, with their service. So meanwhile, she didn't last long because she just couldn't understand. She just had an issue with someone younger than her telling her something.
Well, and actually that happens a lot of times because think about the way we are raised.
Yeah.
Like I know I absolutely benefit from being the oldest in the family. Absolutely. Absolutely. I said, even my oldest son is so funny. When I'll pick up both my boys, even if I pick up my youngest son first and we go to pick up my oldest son, my youngest son will get out of the front seat and get in the back seat before being asked.
Wow.
Because there's a hierarchy.
There's a hierarchy. Yes, I get it.
And so that's part of the shift that we need. And so if you're an employee, all you know is hierarchies, all you know is this, all you know is that. And what happens is that, especially if you've not been trained on how business really works, you have all these stories in your head about business.
Yes.
Like, only somebody this could tell me that, but that's what you do.
Yeah.
And I've got to say that for me, and I know I'm doing a lot more talking because I gotta get back to these shows.
Okay.
I keep doing talking, but again, I want to shout out because I recognize that about you in the time we worked together. Like, you aren't caught into credentials and things like that. It really is. And again, like I tell them, she is everything that she's saying, because y'all know how it is. If she on here talking some BS, I said BS. Look, pay attention. So all y'all that want to, because normally when I curse, y'all want to write up stuff in the comments and stuff like that. So I didn't this time. I said BS. So I should also get some comments and stuff. Yes. Okay. So, but again, if she was on some BS, I would absolutely let you know. She wouldn't be on here talking that. And I just want to make sure people understand.
Yeah.
Is that this is genuine. This isn't like, I'm here for the branding and let me say the right thing.
Not at all. Real stuff, heart to heart.
How do you do it though? Because that is help. Being a Christian in a capitalist society is inconsistent and incongruent to begin with. Being a woman in American society, I mean, think about this. America likes Black people more than women because they were willing to put a Black man as president, but a woman who has all of these credentials, like, nah, we good. And then you mix Black and woman together, and misogynoir is a recipe for misogynoir, and all of that is happening.
Yes.
All of the time.
Yes.
How do you navigate that space Because I every time I ask this question, I get tired asking it because it's like it is a lot.
It is.
I don't want it for you.
It is a lot. It's a lot, but how can I say it? It's a lot, but it's something that you have to be determined in your mind to never give up. Even through the naysayers, you have to know truly who you are and what you want, out of life and out of business, and who you are, as a woman. You have to just stand your ground, and for me, I say I have a holy confidence now. I didn't always have it, but I have more of a holy confidence to have courage to do the things that I want to do, and stand strong in it, and then know that everything's not a good fit. Some things you have to let go of, and I have to be okay with that. So I've learned how to let things go and not be so disappointed in those seasons, because as a salon owner, I've had lots of seasons of people, coming through my doors. And I know it was a reason and a season. They got a lot out of it, then they're gone. Then you have the ones that they stay, because they don't mind who you are as a Black woman in the age you are. They just want to be around greatness. They want to be around professionalism. They want to be around a successful salon that care about their clients. And all the other stuff doesn't matter, but it was a rare people. It is.
Okay. You ain't never lied about that, because I think some of the reason is that we have not just these stories in our head about who you should be, but I'll use myself as an example. I had a story in my head about who I should be.
Yeah.
And so rather than being authentically me, I was always in a constant struggle with me to show up as this guy.
Yes.
And what ended up happening for me is that it started eroding my identity to the point that when I realized that I wasn't this guy, I didn't realize who the hell I was.
Right.
And so you talk about knowing who you are and understanding your value.
Yes.
How did you do that?
I had to, only thing in mind was knowing the identity in Christ. I have to go back to that.
Okay.
Who God says I am, not people, not the world. When I know who I am as a woman of God, then okay, now I can operate in that. What biblical love is, 1 Corinthians 13:13. All, just exuding that love. I mean, everything is the characteristics of, for me, Christ, being Christ-like, Christ-centered, having the Holy Spirit within you, to give you peace. And a lot of people don't have the peace within them, because they don't know the identity or who they serve, right? So I know who I serve, and now I know how to serve other people because of it.
And I think, to your point, it also happens where, because they've never experienced a relationship that was truly a loving relationship, truly a supportive relationship, they don't even understand how to begin that kind of relationship, regardless of whether your God is the God of Abraham, or your God is Buddha, or your God is, it is the lack of understanding. The fact that they didn't have an Anita Sutton in their lives. So now everybody's just out to get them. No, you can't trust anybody. And that is shaped.
So bad experiences, so bad. Yeah. And that shaped them completely, and it's like, I tell you, have to just get rid of all of those. Something my daughter said to me just today. She said, "Mom, I had a really terrible hamburger at school today, and that changed my whole thinking. I don't even want a hamburger anymore." I said, I said, wait a minute. I said, that was one experience with a hamburger. I said, do not throw out all these future hamburgers that you could deliciously eat because of that one experience.
Okay.
So she said, you're right, Mom. Okay, well, for today, I don't want any more hamburgers, but I will try it again.
Okay. Now, again, so I want to, because again, I'm trying to understand. I'm here. I'm the aliens translator, so I'm trying to make sure I can tell them what you had said.
Yeah.
So there is. I want to make sure. I want to make sure that if you are saying there is a difference between disqualifying something just on a bad experience, or that you shouldn't make a decision just on a bad experience, because again, what I've seen is that people manipulate people
Yeah.
Or it's like, oh well, no, it's just one time. Let's try it again. It's like,
Yeah,
well,
not
I
not
really
like that.
dislike
I
it.
would say the
Okay,
decision, William, most definitely the
okay.
decision, because it's everything is free will, and everything is a decision and a choice that we choose to make. And my choices may be different from other people's, and it's okay. But we still have to love people through it, or love people regardless. No matter what they choose. So that's how I look at it as well. Once again, I say God is love. We have to show love to other people, even people that don't think like us, people
Mhm.
that don't believe like us. It's okay. Let's still love each other.
And I really do appreciate the whole idea. Like when you take a step back and look at the large, especially the larger Christian architecture,
Mm-hmm.
l- I think God provides a really good in that structure provides a good model of how love is not always enough,
Yeah.
because God loves his children but will sentence you to hell. And
The
so love is
wrath
not
of God.
always enough. And one of the things that I find in our human relationships
Mm-hmm.
is that we try to make love enough. Like love gives you
Yeah.
passes. It's like I've had somebody, I've
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately work with somebody
Mm-hmm.
who, like, I would be spoiled. I was like, but he loves me though. Like I
Mm-hmm.
made him mad, and the
Right.
love is enough. I
Yeah.
think to your point, God still says that I can love you and punish you,
Mm-hmm.
and so you don't have to take everything. If
No.
God says you don't have to take everything, then what do you
No.
take?
Yeah. I challenge people to read First Corinthians. Yeah. Just with the what love it love does not boast, love is not envious, love is not jealous, love does not hurt. See, that's what people think. It was one time I was in this group of women, and we were doing a study on love. And when we
Mhm.
went around the room and asked all the women, what is love to you? People's reasoning of love is like so many different things,
Why do you
and
think that is? I'm sorry.
because of their experience of how they
Mhm.
were raised, and what love they thought love was showing to them. But then once they learned what biblical love is, they're like, wow, that really wasn't love. Because
Right.
love wouldn't have hurt. Love wouldn't have had them beat me every day. Love wouldn't have manipulated me into doing what I didn't want to do, and those things.
Well,
Um, so, like I said, we have to unlearn a lot of things to learn some other good things.
wait. Yeah, they do.
Hmm.
That I'm sorry, because you can't say biblical love doesn't hurt. Because Job loved God the most.
Hmm.
Job loved God the most, and God allowed Satan
Hmm.
to cover his body in boils, kill his family, and stuff like that.
Yes.
So,
Also
so,
purpose. Yeah.
so, love does hurt. The issue is, when do you stop it? That is the test. When do you say, because man can't give you, as you're
Hmm.
saying, man can't give you what God does.
No.
So there might be a little bit of pain that comes with
Yeah.
God's
Yeah.
love,
Yeah.
that, catching a black eye.
Hmm.
Yeah, you might have a couple hurt feelings. That's okay.
Hmm.
But catching a broken rib or something, yeah. And sometimes if those hurt feelings are too high, oh no, that's not appropriate either.
Right.
And if you need somebody to help you calibrate,
Yes.
because if you ain't right, I'll let you know. And if you are, we'll cuss them out together.
Okay.
So, or her.
Either
I thought
one.
equal opportunity. Everybody could get
Right. Right.
it. Because I also think that sometimes there are not, and I want to shift a little bit to relationships. There is not enough support on how we should navigate, whether it's biblical relationships,
Yes.
employment relationships, friendships,
Yeah.
or romantic relationships.
All of it.
We
Yeah.
come to the table with all these cartoons and
Girl.
movies and videos
Yeah.
that we saw and books.
Yeah.
They teach us in school that Romeo and Juliet is a love story.
Yeah.
Like, I was an adult before I
Yeah.
realized
For all that, right?
how fucked up that was. Like, so wait, because a 16-year-old was like, I would love to love somebody and they will
Yeah.
understand my heart and my sun and my moon. It is so romantic. And I would die for you. Like Prince said, I would die for you. And now I'm like, I mean, I
Mm,
get fucked up for you. Like I let somebody, like I get in a fight for you. And if I got beat, I would. But like if
right.
they pull out some weapons, I don't know if I'm just gonna do it
You're not
for
gonna go
you.
there.
I might
Right.
try to save you, but I'm not gonna do it for you. So
Yes.
how do you navigate those types of spaces too? Because again, that's what we're trying to figure out. Like, how do you even make this kind of stuff happen with understanding God's love, or understanding how you should show up and keep from being manipulated? Again, it just sounds like so much all the time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, No, it was always, that's life for you, period. You have to make a decision and choose what you want to do and what direction you want to go in. And for me, being content as well is something I had to learn, is content, not sitting in what I already have, and being grateful for every family, friends, business. I may want 8, 9, 10 different salons. I don't have it right now, but let me be grateful for what I have now.
Right.
So for me, I had to start writing things out in my gratitude journal of contentment,
You got a gratitude journal?
I do. Yeah, I do.
I love
I
gratitude
do.
journals.
I
I
love
do
vision
gratitude.
boards. I had, things written up. I do affirmations, just to say to myself, I had to build up my self-esteem, my self-worth over time. Because when you have been pulled upon from so many people in so many directions, and little pieces start tearing away from you, you have to restore yourself and renew yourself. And I found that in my daily routines as well, writing out things, exercising, I always say drinking a shake. I love shake, meaning it's like a nutritional morning shake that just gives you energy every day. Drinking tea and reading a book, just doing the little things to help restore yourself back after all those pieces have come away from you, from what people can drain sometimes. That's just
Absolutely.
life.
So let's talk about it and say, how long have you been married?
I've been married 24 years now.
Okay. That's a long time.
Yeah.
So
Say it like that.
that's a long time.
It's a long time, right?
So I'm still struggling with the whole idea of getting remarried one day. I'm still like, and some of it was because of my experience.
Yes.
Because I was not the man, not only that I wanted to be, that I should have been.
Yes.
And so how do you keep, so let me actually not make an assumption. Would you consider I'm sorry, can we keep talking? Because I can stop this right now.
Oh, we can talk. I'm good. We're good.
Okay, because again, I don't know how everybody live at home and they're like, is he talking about this in front of tournament?
No one's here. No, my son's playing a game in the basement.
No, I'm talking about like for the audience. Okay.
Audience, sorry.
No, I'm saying for the audience. So 24 years is a long time.
It is.
The reality is, statistically, especially among Black families, one, the marriage doesn't happen. And then two, the second tier is that it does not last. Yeah. And then one of the third tiers that we talk about when we compare our current situation to our predecessors, the boomers and their parents, that they just stayed together a long time. But, dad might have 2 outside kids. So like, was that really... And there might be a time where that bruise, that scar grandma has, that came from grandma. So not just staying together, but staying together. So how do you navigate 24 years of happy marriage, or at least functional marriage? I ain't putting that on.
No, it's fine. For us, I would say being really good friends to me is what lasts. Friendship, communication. We had to learn better communication as we went along. I think our marriage is totally different from me in my 20s than me now in my 40s. Totally different.
Ooh, so that makes so much sense.
Because as women, we evolve, we change. Men change as well, and we have to be willing to change together. So I think as long as you have in your mind that you're going to do it together, everything together, it'll work, and keeping love at the center of it, of course, too. And for me, patience, finding my peace, even when we may not agree on some things, just having peace to know that I don't always have to be right. And just talking things through, that helps so much. Talking things through, and kids help too. I feel like the dynamics of marriage change with kids. I don't know, the closeness, the things that we used to do before kids, we no longer do. And I was happy about that when I had kids. So I was like, yes, he can't go out anymore. He don't do
So let me save some money. Well, spend the money differently. Just spend the money differently. Let's not
spend it differently.
So one of the things that there are many women that that I talk to in my travels that are really big on wanting to be married. Was
Mm.
that your story? Was that part of your worldview, the thing that you wanted?
No,
Mm-hmm.
when
Okay.
I was
So how
younger,
did you end up here?
you know, it just really happened. I believe sometimes, when people are strong, like when I was younger, I was always the one about career. I'm going to have my suit on, my heels on every day, and I'm going to work. I wasn't thinking about marriage, kids. I was like, I wasn't against it completely, but it wasn't my go-to. Like when a lot of women, when they're younger, they're like, oh, like it's the fairy tale. I got to have this big wedding. It's got to be lavish. I'm going to have my prince. I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking about career moves, boss moves. So, but as time goes on, you never know where you might be, and you meet somebody. I was about to be working on a cruise ship until I met my husband just riding in Drew Hill Park. So, and that's why I stayed, so my whole trajectory of life would be different if I chose to go there. And then by me choosing to start this relationship, the next 2 years after, we're going on a date in Owings Mills, and I'm like, I look over and I see a for sale sign. I said, oh, that's gonna be my first salon. I just spoke it. And he was like, oh, well, what's really? Okay, well, maybe we should look at it. Never even, it just happened naturally and organically. I just don't believe in forcing things. I think if you seek it too much, then you may grab hold onto something that really isn't for you. So just being in tune with how things are orchestrated in your life, and you see how one thing comes to you, the next thing, and it just organically happens. So, yeah.
That's wonderful. As we get ready to wrap up, I talked to the aliens and they said, thank you so much. They've learned so much. They apologized that I got excited and kept talking a little bit too much, but that's okay. They're going to take care of that later. They asked me to ask you one last question.
Okay.
Because of their advanced technology, they have great sway over the human populace. What can humanity do to better support Black women?
Good question. You say humanity.
Well, actually, or if you got one human in particular, let's talk to them. I mean, if you want, I'm trying to give you the opportunity to talk to everybody, but we can talk to them one at a time. Absolutely, it's my show. Okay.
To support Black women, I think helping more with like resources, making it a little easier even for Black women to get grants and funding for their businesses. What else? I think that's the main thing I can think of, right now.
So watch this. Watch what I'm about to do. I'm about to give you a whole ass resource right now. Watch this.
Okay.
You, ma'am, you have the floor. I'm going to give you however much time you need to tell them everything about you and how they can just support you outright. Go ahead and take it from me. Take this is your show now. Go ahead.
Okay, this is my show. Well, again, this is Raquel Renee. I am a lifestyle coach to the salonpreneurs with beauty, business, and Bible. My goals with that is to just support other Black women in business, having a Born Again Boss Academy where they can have resources and just come together as a community of beauty industry leaders. And I also do event planning as well. And I also do product development, and I make products and things. But just to learn more about how to get your products and services out there more as a Black woman is so powerful. I know right now we have social media, but having those go-to people that really want to pour into you and care about you, I would love to find. One of my goals is to get on Shark Tank. I believe that I can take my products to another level, coming from the backing of being a professional cosmetologist, having hair products that are truly helping and growing the hair, but it's coming from the knowledge of a stylist. for so long, I couldn't find that particular product for professionally for my clients. So I started making my own products. And it's been now over 20 years now. And I am wanting to get those products out there even more. So yeah, I don't know. Did that help?
That absolutely that helps. And so I'm gonna tell you, because you said one of the things that we could do to support Black women is provide more resources. I talked to the aliens, and what they had said was that that they told me to give you some time. So I want to work with the Beauty Academy, the three B's. Can't remember all of them in the same order.
Yes.
I am a subject matter expert when it comes to business development and tactical analysis strategy and stuff like that. And I'm happy to donate time to you. Additionally, because this is my show and I'm gonna see how far I can take my show, okay? Additionally, I'm saying let's have some of the people from your beauty academy. Let's do a series of show about them. Come on.
That would be wonderful.
My show. I get, and you said we should need the help, and I'm gonna put, because it'd be real disrespectful for me to invite you out here. You tell me what you need, I got it, and then be like, all right, then have a good day. I'll see you later.
Right.
I don't want to be that guy. So I got you. You got the link. Let's circle it out. Trying to sketch out what it is that you need.
Okay.
I got you.
I appreciate it. So awesome. Thank you so much, William.
No problem. We're gonna help Black women, damn it. Because again, we talk about it a lot, but like somebody got to do it.
Yeah.
And I was actually, I remember one time, I can't even remember who it was I was talking to, but I was at Hopkins and I was talking to somebody about what Hopkins could do to support micro enterprises and small businesses. And he's like, oh, okay. So how do you all do it at your organization? I said, what? I said, how do you do it at your organization? I was like, well, we're not as big as, you all in
right. You like, I didn't have a rebuttal or something.
Because he was right.
Right.
I want to show up in your office, tell you what you need to do, and I don't even have to make that many changes, and I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so one thing, I get embarrassed one time. That's never going to happen again.
We learn from the lessons, right?
That's the reason my last name is Esquire, because I went to a family reunion committee meeting and my uncle advised them to do something. And this is before I took the bar. He was like, but you're not like a real lawyer anyway. You just graduated from law school. It's like, oh, that will never happen again.
Right. Exactly.
Next summer I took the bar. I was like, damn.
Wow. Here you go.
Esquire.
Wow. Right. You had it.
Okay.
I love it.
So yeah, so now when the dude from if I meet him again, they ask me, it's like, well, I work with Raquel Allen on the 3Bs.
Right.
Okay.
And that. Right. I love it. You let them know. That's right, William. I love it.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much for joining us. I have had a wonderful time, and I'm looking back. We bringing the 3Bs in. Okay.
The 3Bs.
All right.
Got it. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. I so much. I so appreciate you, not just being here, but for all the stuff that you do.
Thank
just thank you, and great job.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the feedback.
All right. Have a great one.
You too. Be safe with them.
Yo, I told y'all I know dope people. Y'all got a chance to meet Raquel Renee Allen. She out here doing the damn thing. Not only is she taking it to the next level in health and beauty, did you hear her say she made her own products 20 years ago? Now, 20 years ago, I wasn't making no products. I was making some poor decisions. I ain't gonna. That's separate. That's something for my therapist. That's not for you guys. I forgot what virtual meeting I'm in. Sorry. But she is out in the world doing the damn thing. Just into look her up online, support her program, because she is really empowering these women to take their businesses to the next level and change the trajectory of their entire lives. So make sure that you all reach out to support her however you can. And I love these shows. I'm tired after. I'm gonna lay down or something because I've had a wonderful time. I'm emotionally spent. All right, we'll be back tomorrow.